Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, Namibia launches a GOA utilization strategy and action plan. Government confused over basic income grant, says Yauch. Offenders receive COVID-19 vaccine. Private sector roadblock COVID testing initiative launched. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. The Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, together with the U.S. Embassy, launched Namibia's National African Growth and Opportunity Act Utilization and Action Plan on how Namibia can increase exports to the United States through the AGOA Preference Program. The strategy and action plan will allow Namibia to export over 6,400 products tariff-free to the U.S. with benefits such as increased foreign direct investment and employment creation for Namibia. Selma Tapopi has more.
Ambassador Lisa Johnson at the launch stated that Namibia, through the Ministry of Industrialization, has prioritized products such as meat, dates, specialty foods, leather handbags, handicrafts and accessories, and cosmetics, which will support the diversification of exports from Namibia to the United States. Ambassador Johnson adds that the embassy has also brought on board associations such as the Namibia Network in Cosmetics Industry, the Namibia Charcoal Association, the Namibia Manufacturers Association, and the Namibia Chamber of Commerce and Industry to assist export-ready firms.
USAID is helping Namibian companies participate both in-person and virtual market linkage and business-to-business events, engaging with potential buyers, showcasing their products, and starting business discussions. These linkages have already led to export deals for Namibian firms. For example, in 2019, USAID supported Meatco in participating in the Summer Fancy Food Show in New York in the United States, where Meatco met Valley Foods, a US buyer, and the rest is history. This led to the first export of Namibian beef to the United States in 2020.
Minister of Industrialization and Trade, Lucia Ipumbu, noted that Namibia's total trade with the United States has shown a stagnant growth over the past 10 years, adding that in 2019, Namibia's overall exports to the United States market were valued at 1.97 billion Namibia dollars, accounting for only 2.9% of Namibian exports to the world.
The main products, as were related to earlier on, are uranium for now, diamond, and artwork. The strategy, however, identifies priority sectors and categories that we need to focus on going forward. As it was related by the ambassador, beef is one, fish is another one, semi-precious stone is another one, our grapes, our dates, the devil's claw, and all other products and oil products in terms of Semenia, Marura, and the rest that we are targeting to export in the near future.
The just launched strategy and action plan provides a prioritized roadmap on how Namibia can increase its exports, further recommending steps to address policy, supply and market challenges faced by potential Namibian exporters.
Labor researcher Herbert Yao, who is part of the Basic Income Grant Coalition of Namibia, an organization that implemented the first ever universal cash transfer pilot project of a basic income grant in the country, says that the government still seems to be confused about the concept of a basic income grant. Yao responded to the recent statement delivered by the president during his State of the Nation address, where the president criticized the introduction of a basic income grant within the context of an unequal society such as Namibia. Joseph Ilonga has more.
President Hage Geingob has been an open critique to the concept of a universal basic income grant in Namibia, where he allegedly stated at the recent launch of the second Harambee Prosperity Plan that he sees no reason as to why the government should implement a universal basic income grant within the context of a country with a high income inequality rate such as Namibia. Today on One spoke to Yauch, who is a member of the Basic Income Grant Coalition for Namibia, an organization that has lobbied government for several years to roll out the social grant program in order to address the high levels of poverty and contribute to economic development, to provide a background about the rationale and concept behind the universal basic income grant.
The initial idea of a basic income grant was it is a universal grant. Everyone gets it starting from birth until you reach the age of 59 or age of 60 when you're entitled to the universal old age pension. So it was meant to cover everybody below 60 in Namibia. And then they talked about a modified basic income grant. So the discussion was, should a basic income grant be given to people who are unemployed, for example? But that's not a basic income grant, that's then an unemployment grant. That's something very different. Then government said they want to introduce a universal child grant so that every child gets a grant from birth till reaching the age of 18. Based on that, then the idea was then maybe the BIG, a basic income grant, kicks in when the child grant ends. In other words, from the age of 18 or 19 then to 59. But covering everybody there. That could have been a case now that Namibia introduces a universal child grant, then a basic income grant for people from 19 to 59, and then we have the old age pension already in place. That would have possibly been a very workable and manageable approach. Not ideal, but at least manageable, and it would have reached virtually everyone in the country.
The head of state during the recent State of the Nation address also announced that the food bank, marginalized grant and the feeding scheme will be consolidated into a modified basic income grant with clear eligibility criteria to determine qualifying beneficiaries. Yauch further argued that government should rather build on the success of the emergency income grant initiated last year as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a model to roll out a basic income grant as the once-off payment of 750 Namibia dollars distributed by government last year reached far more people in the country compared to the food bank initiative and other social grants.
And now the president in the SONA said, no, they want to convert the food bank and some other emergency grants and feeding schemes into the basic income grant. Now that is a bit difficult to imagine because it's a small number of people that was reached. The food bank reached just above 40,000. There are far more people in need in Namibia. The emergency last year reached over 700,000, which the Ministry of Finance rolled out. So at least they should build on that and accommodate the proposal of having a basic income grant for those between 19 and 59 if they earn less than the tax bracket of 50,000 a year. That would be the minimum of what would make sense, and we hope that will still come through. However, we heard already that the main driver stopping that is the Ministry of Finance based on costs. They think Namibia doesn't have the money, it's too costly to do that. But one must understand that the basic income grant is not just a social protection measure, it's also an economic stimulus package. As people receive this money, they will spend it on basic consumer goods. So you recreate an economic cycle from below. And I hope that government officials and political leaders will realize that in a declining economy like ours, you need an intervention to turn things around. And the basic income grant could be one of those interventions.
The proposal for a basic income grant in Namibia was made in 2002 by the Namibian Tax Consortium, a government-appointed commission. The consortium made the proposal for a basic income grant in light of the high poverty levels and the unequal distribution of income in Namibia.
Staff members of the Vintu Correctional Service and offenders received their COVID-19 vaccines. The offenders that received their jabs are encouraging their fellow inmates to take the vaccine as it's for their own benefit. Leston Vola has this report.
Because we hear the corona serious there, she's killed people and people they are sick, and we know we are in prison, and prison so it's not our prison like we are our side. It's a small place like Last Lady, and we don't have even enough quarantine. We just want to take medication to try again. Maybe we step corona down. I just want to try, and I want to people, the generals must make a planner to get our kids from out. They come to visit us, our kids, because we are miss a lot our kids, a lot. Because I think we are going to make 1 year and maybe even 2 years. Maybe we didn't see our kids.
I am serving a sentence at the Winter Correctional Facility, and the news and the media, well, the radio and the television, we see that pandemic is spread all over the world, and I feel it's important that we take the vaccine. It's been advertised as a benefit to us, and we see that the whole world is taking it. So I don't see there's any difference that we as inmates should not take it as well. So we were offered the opportunity to take it, and I appreciate that opportunity, and therefore I accepted it.
I took Sinopharm. The reason why I took Sinopharm is that they explained to me that they don't have a lot of side effect. Is the reason, because since they started with this injection, I find anyone with side effect. Is the reason why I took it. To my fellow offenders, I would like to tell them that they must come in numbers so that they can be vaccinated, because it's for their own benefit. Because after the vaccination, it doesn't say that you will not be having corona. You are going to have it, but it will not be severe. This is the reason that I want to urge them that they must come out in numbers so that they can come and get the vaccine.
Winter Correctional Service General Rafael Hamuyela said that there are still staff members and offenders that are hesitant to take the vaccine, but believes that the ones that are taking their jabs will act as an example for the rest.
What encouraged me to take the vaccine is my Christianity, where I believe that it is time for everything. And during the Noah flood, many people were being told they must go to the Ark of Noah. And they were having a lot of perception and different thinking. They will climb on top of trees, they're having higher houses, they will be there. And when the pandemic, the water came, all of them, they were washed away. It's good when something comes up, it's not that everybody will start seeing it the same way as another person. It's very, very important. Some people want to see before they believe. And that is a good thing. That's why we are doing it, for others to see that indeed it is here to protect us. It's not here to destroy us as other people are saying. After they see us have taken it and we are doing well, then that alone will encourage them just to think of protecting themselves from this COVID-19. Because this is totally something to protect the world. I believe, you see, the Sinopharm what I took now is, you are saying, is from China, and in Namibia we are having about 2,000 Chinese, and 3 weeks ago I was informed by the official from the Chinese embassy that they were just left with something like 100 Chinese who were not yet injected, and they are not being injected at the Chinese embassies. They are being injected at our hospital and at our clinic.
The Correctional Service will roll out the vaccination process to all prisons in the 14 regions.
In making COVID testing more accessible for international travelers, the Tour and Safari Association of Namibia, in collaboration with Diagonal Lab and HT Trading Solutions, with the support from the Hospitality Association of Namibia, joined forces by launching the private sector roadblock COVID testing initiative at roadblocks such as Windhoek Okahanya and Windhoek Rehoboth. Hendrina Kanyolo has this report.
The pandemic has dealt a very hard blow to the tourism industry in Namibia. Many tourism businesses have had to close down or are on the verge of closing down. Many jobs have been lost. Many livelihoods are at stake, more so with every passing day. It is absolutely critical for the survival of our industry to get tourists back into our beautiful country, to revive this important economic pillar in Namibia. To achieve this, we need to make Namibia as enticing as possible for our international guests. We need to stand out as a safe destination with easy access to testing and top-class medical facilities.
The private sector roadblock COVID testing initiative is aimed at making it easier for tourists and travelers to get tested. Mobile testing facilities have been put up at the Windhoek Okahanya and Windhoek Rehoboth roadblocks. Whilst this initiative is aimed at the tourist sector, everyone who needs COVID testing can make use of the facilities.
The pandemic has impacted and changed our outlook on how we work, how we live, how we do business, how we interact with one another, and last but not least, how we should sustain and protect the continued well-being of our people. It is against this background that COVID Test NAM initiated this project to conduct PCR and rapid antigen tests at the key points of entry, which include the Okahanya as well as Rehoboth roadblocks. The aim focuses on tourism travelers coming to the end of their trip will enter the city from both north and southbounds of the B1 roads. The initiative is to revive the tourism industry by providing an efficient and convenient product that is mandatory to the travelers prior to cross borders needing to test against COVID-19, with the main focus being set on customer service. The COVID-19 test team on hand consists of well-experienced Namibians with extensive knowledge in the tourism industry who lost jobs due to the pandemic. We also partnering with young, vibrant Namibian graduate nurses that have been serving the Namibian population and now willing to go a step further in contributing to the revival of the Namibian tourism sector and future projects under the COVID Test NAM to help fight this pandemic.
Kalumbi Shangula applauded the private sector for the initiative, noting that this will surely have a positive contribution to the upliftment of the industry, as the tourism industry is one of the sectors that expands and contributes to the economy of Namibia.
The COVID-19 situation in Namibia remains critical. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases continue to increase. Namibia have reached and surpassed 50,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases per month. The increasing number of cases calls for greater vigilance on the part of the Namibians. To commend the Tourism and Safari Association and the pathology service providers for this timely initiative. At present, Namibia compares favorably with other African countries in terms of COVID-19 testing. Statistics shows that as at the 9th of May 2021, that is yesterday, Namibia has tested on average 160 persons per 1,000 populations, which compares well with South Africa at 181 and Morocco at 156 persons per 1,000 populations, respectively. There is no doubt that the initiative we are launching this morning will strengthen Namibia's overall capacity to conduct COVID-19 tests. Whereas at the beginning of the pandemic, we did not have the capacity to test for COVID-19, we now have 10 laboratories that are testing for COVID-19. We have also developed the capacity to identify the type of COVID-19 variants that are circulating in Namibia.
Shangula further urged Namibians to pull and work together to curb COVID-19 by wearing their masks, social distancing, and go for the vaccinations and ignore those that are trying to mislead the nation on the safety of the vaccines.
My name is Ephraim. I say no to gender-based violence. Do you?
In other leading stories, in its Namibia Trade Statistics Bulletin, the Namibia Statistics Agency noted that during the month of March 2021, Namibia's top 5 trading partners in terms of exports largely remained the same as in the previous months for the top 3 countries, that's China, South Africa and Botswana, with United Arab Emirates and Canada making it to the list as new entrants to complete the top 5 export markets for Namibia. These top 5 markets accounted for 57% of Namibia's total exports, down from the 57.7% and 72.6% recorded in the February 2021 and March 2020, respectively. The month of February 2021 saw Namibia sourcing majority of imports from the usual countries. The month of March 2021 saw Namibia sourcing majority of imports, mainly from South Africa, Zambia, DRC, China and Bulgaria. The top 5 import markets supplied Namibia with 76.8% of all import requirements needed by the country, up from its February 2021 level of 75.2%, but down from 78.4% in March 2020. South Africa remained Namibia's largest import market with a share of 39.3% of the value of all goods received into the country during the month under review. Following in the second place was Zambia with a contribution of 16.6% of total imports. Furthermore, DRC came in the third place, accounting for 10.7% of Namibia's total imports, followed by China and Bulgaria, contributing 5.8% and 4.4% respectively. And Standard Bank Namibia has announced that it has partnered with the Credit Guarantee Scheme CGS to provide collateral cover of 60% for qualifying SMEs applying for finance from participating commercial finance institutions. Standard Bank's Enterprise Direct Manager Felicia Eustace says the bank has a genuine desire to see SMEs grow and thrive in difficult economic conditions, adding that SMEs are the lifeblood of the economy and employ thousands of people across various sectors. Juesta further noted that they have undertaken various initiatives to support SMEs and found the CGS to be an additional and worthwhile undertaking to participate in, not only to help them grow as companies, but also to help them grow the country's economy and alleviate a number of social challenges. Launched in August 2020 by Minister of Finance Ipumbu Shimi, the CGS provides collateral cover of 60% for qualifying SMEs that apply for finance from participating commercial finance institutions. The CGS caters for SMEs with viable business plans that lack collateral to obtain loans.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback Name and town to 081 200 6659. Hashtag Learn on One. Invite learning in.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni. The Ministry of Health and Social Services has received a donation of over $12 million from several businesses that will go towards the procurement of more vaccines for this comes after the government's call on the private sector to join and contribute by funding one of the vaccine. The private companies that dollars will be used to buy vaccines from suppliers, acquire medical supplies and vital components in the process.
As a responsible organization and business that has been operating in this country for the last 101 years, Old Mutual remain committed to do all what we can to make a contribution to protect our customers, our employees, and the community in which we operate from coronavirus. And we are continuing a journey that we started when we responded to the clarion call of the President in March 2020, when we made a contribution of $5 million towards addressing the impact of COVID-19 in very, very specific areas.
Last year, we contributed an amount of $5 million towards the solidarity. And similarly today, we're standing here together with others to commit a similar amount towards the vaccination program that we have embarked upon. We believe a successful vaccine rollout will provide a quick route for Namibia's economic recovery and future prosperity.
With these contributions, we hope that we would encourage each one of the Namibian population to go out and get their COVID vaccines together, and so that we can ensure that we once again become a nation of productivity and get our production numbers up. While we stay apart, we encourage the public to ensure that they protect themselves from this deadly virus, go out and get themselves vaccines so that we once again would find ourselves being productive as a community.
The Deputy Minister of Social Services, Esther Munyangwe, thanked the companies for their contribution and stressed that such support private sector's commitment towards the needs of the population.
During this COVID-19 pandemic, no nation is spared. Namibian nation is affected, hence the business and the economy also suffered, and that also affected the livelihoods of our people. The Namibian government is doing its best to take care of the Namibian citizens. Any assistance rendered during the time when the ministry currently extended its vaccination campaign to all parts of the country will indeed enhance the rollout of our vaccines campaign. Representatives of the Coalition on Vaccines for Hope, please accept our sincere gratitude on behalf of the people of Namibia, the Ministry of Health and Social Services, as well as the entire Namibian government.
While some companies donated funds, there were those such as the Luderan's Nest Hotel that pledged accommodation and meals. Government will need approximately $600 million to get enough doses for the entire population. That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. A 60-year-old farm worker from a farm on the outskirts of Okahanya in the Ocha-Dhanjupa region has found himself in a tricky situation after he was given notice to vacate the farm as his services are no longer. Richmond says the family is confusing the old man, suggesting that he accept. Hendrik says he does not see any problem as the employer is covering all costs, noting that he must vacate and continue farming. Munyarizo says farm workers should be educated on the difference between a home and working on a farm. Maria says he should have planned in advance and says people must stop blaming the government for everything. Prince says he must return to his village. While Brenda commended the farmer for offering assistance, calling him a good man. That's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on One. Update.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Charo Musiandaka. The MTC Nesta Sunshine Boxing Academy stable is once again taking boxing to another level as the stable recently secured an international title fight for the hot prospect Jeremiah Loki Nakathila. Nakathila will face new kid on the block, Shakur Stevenson, who currently boasts a record of 15 fights and no losses. He is currently the WBO World Interim Junior Featherweight Champion. Let's cross over to Castro Olumbu for more on this story.
Veteran boxing promoter Nesta Tobias has labeled Nakathila's fight as one of the most important fights for his stable this year, calling it a great achievement as he shows confidence in his fighter.
Okay, it's a big achievement. Just for MTC Sunshine Boxing and Fitness Academy, it's also a big achievement to get this fight done. You know, it take a lot of thinking. It take about a lot of time, you know, and a lot of stress. You go through that. Loki is one of the boxer was in the top 5 for a very long time and not get a chance to fight for the world title. I think I remember maybe from 2017, 2018, you know, the guy was already there, you know. If There's another boxer was in the top 5 for a very long time, and he didn't get a chance to fight for the world title. I don't know. We were lucky in Africa, in Namibia, and my knowledge in the world is the only guy. We know on his record there's one defeat, but that defeat for us was just a lesson learning, you know. Because after that defeat, we learn a lot, you know. Because when you fight outside, if you knock your opponent out, you get a draw. It's better go for a knockout. If you go in the distance, so of course they give the fight to their boy. You know, that's what happened in Russia. Loki put up a great fight, and in my own opinion, my own judgment, I believe we won that fight. But on his record, there's a loss there. See? He went 11 fight. After that fight, followed by 9. So he learned also. He said, no, I'm not going to go points anymore. I'll take them out. He's taking the judges in his own hand.
In his remarks, hot prospect Loki Nakathila has expressed his appreciation towards his stable for securing the title fight. A confident Loki has only one loss in 22 fights and promised victory against American young prospect, Olympic silver medalist Shakur Stevenson.
You know, I'm excited. You know, I've been looking forward for this type of fight. You know, it's every boxer's dream to reach this level. And I want to say this is my time. It's my time to shine. I'm ready. You know, I'm in the gym every day. You know, I'm preparing hard. You know, with Nikki, SVK, you know, they are pushing me hard. My sparring partners as well. Yeah, so we are ready, and we are serious about this fight. Physically, mentally, we are preparing for this fight. And come the 12th, I'm gonna shine. You know, the victory, Namibia gonna have another world champion. You know, I'm happy that I see Ota and my team secures such a big fight for me. And then, you know, it's a blessing. And then for sure, you know, I'm destined for greatness. I'm gonna win this fight. And just say on the 12th June, this Shakur, you know, I watch all his fight. You know, most of his fight, and then it gets boring for me because the type of opponents that he fought they are not like me. He never faced somebody like me. You know, these guys, they're standing and they're there to be, you know, they are on the gas. So that's not me. He's going to meet a warrior, an African, and then I'm going to demolish him.
Jeremiah Loki Nakathila will face Shakur Stevenson on the 12th of June 2021 in Las Vegas in the United States of America.
That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Isai.
Thank you, Chairo, for that update. Time now for the weather forecast.
But first, an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. East wind conditions will prevail over the coastal areas this week, so please take the necessary precautions. The interior will be cold at first, otherwise sunny and warm to hot. The coast will be sunny and hot to very hot. Wind will be fresh easterly at first, becoming moderate southwesterly later. Now a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
That is all from us this evening. Tune in again tomorrow at 7 p.m. And don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
up, world? This is Shay, the goddess of the airwaves, on 99 FM, Monday to Friday, serving you breakfast. We brought you to be inspired, taking you to master your destiny. Now it's time to do the work.
Just show up. Put on your work boots and do the time.
Make it, and then make it better.
Hello world, it's your boy Script here on The Kingdom, where we're reminding you every single day.
Get up. You've got this. Start where you are.
Hey, this is your girl Treza on Hitsville on 99 FM, letting you know it's okay.
Try.
Make mistakes.
Ask.
I am Sibo, and I'm going to be with you for quite a while. Thank you so much for joining us here on your inspiration station, where we let you know
there's no easy money, there's no easy job, there's no easy life.
99 FM. Do the work.
Yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore, revive, restart. We're saving ourselves and we're saving the world. Stay home now. YouTu Namibia again soon. Yes, the world's a crazy place right now, but don't despair. Find the joy. Cherish hope. Breathe. Take a moment. Take a few. And someday soon you'll once again be able to stare in wonder at this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
Make the camp that probably also is good, and these guys are looking for their chances. So the camps, we're probably going to have another one around February. And our target is obviously to take the boys to go play, to expose them to international tournaments. And in this exposure, we would want the best of them, so that we can actually just represent Namibia well. And I think, from a personal point of view, that if probably a Colin Benjamin or Quentin Jacobs or Muhammad Osef or Robert Nosef could make it without development to go as far as they could, these boys, with the development that we're putting in hand, why wouldn't they? And I think that they will definitely be better than us. So in this next Dion Hoto and the Shalulule is definitely, and I don't think it's only going to be Shalulule and a Hoto in here, but the Nyambe in here, and it's going to be probably 3, 4, 5, 6 more than what we have right now.
This fishing community on Mozambique's northern coast has been hit hard. People here are suffering from high rates of malnutrition, but that's not all. The greatest concern is the high rates of HIV infection and AIDS, the main cause of death in adults and young people across Mozambique. Poor nutrition makes it even more difficult for people to fight the disease. 21-year-old Alima Artur is the daughter of one of these fishermen. A few years ago, she suddenly started suffering from an unknown.
Me encontrei desesperada, totalmente triste. Minha vida só era chorar, só pensava a ir já.
All this changed the day Alima met Art Anna Abel Chapani. With support from IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development Fund for Food Security, staff from Chapani work with villagers to combat the dual threats of HIV and when Alima tested positive for HIV and AIDS, Arlette encouraged her to form a support group, her father and aunt, who helped her to stay optimistic and healthy. In fact, teaching people to eat well is an important part of Arlette's work.
Eu ensinei elas para que pudesse enriquecer os alimentos para ela poder as hemoglobinas não baixarem. Então, já se alimenta agora de verduras, não só do peixe.
As part of the Chapani project, cooking demonstrations are held for everyone in the community. The session today features the highly nutritious moringa plant, a fast-growing, drought-resistant tree unknown to many locally. Now it has become a popular item in the local cuisine. Maria Machambi, who is not HIV positive, is learning to create her own garden with more than 6,000 other families in the area. The idea is spreading quickly throughout the community, with locally trained volunteers now leading the process.
They share their ideas with their neighbors and everyone gets excited. For us, that is key. Once communities own the process and they don't...
The success of the project has motivated IFAD to expand nutrition education across. Meanwhile, Alima is playing a key role in spreading the word about healthy living. Through songs, she informs people about safeguarding against HIV and AIDS, adopting healthy eating habits, and learning to cope with the disease.
Vela, mira para só. Sabe, uma pessoa pode me ver, só ver que eu tremo. Estou bem, hein? Ouviste?
And with more than 10% of Mozambique's adult population infected with HIV, this message has never been more pertinent. This report was produced by Jonathan Elliott for the United Nations.
Tamu along Kenya's coastline, which is commonly associated with tourists and white sandy beaches, but the locals have found hidden treasures in butterfly farming.
I am in Meru in eastern Kenya, where the growing and selling of cat is big business. The fortunes of this trade are now in doubt following a ban on exports of this crop to Somalia.
For continental free trade, I am in a to bring this vision into reality.
My name is Karine Mars, founder of Soyez Sublime, a company that designs, manufactures and sells capillary prosthesis, wigs.
In the past few years, yoga studios like this one began popping up all from luxurious beach resorts to slums in major cities. I'm in Nairobi to find out how entrepreneurs are cashing in on the wellness industry.
Hi, beautiful souls. This is Nikita Winkler, and I'm here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration. So what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And then again, take your time. And here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your block. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open. and back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards. If you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. I'm just going to place my feet and without keeping the upper body facing up, shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, leg over the upper to add weight to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you roll both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches and happy stretching.
On January 30th, the WHO declares the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. One day after Valentine's 15th Feb 2020, a man tests positive for the virus case on the African continent.
Many African countries have been praised for waging an effective campaign to stop the spread of COVID-19 despite having weak health systems. With a population of more than 1 billion people, the continent has had about 4 million cases according to data from the Johns Hopkins University.
This was foreseen. Viruses mutate, and investigations are usually ongoing to know if they are more deadlier or less deadlier. But remember, data is still being gathered, and Ian, to note is that the measures that were curbing the COVID-19 are still the same. Social distancing, washing your hands, wearing a face mask, these still apply.
COVID has certainly unearthed many of the challenges that exist within the health system, and the challenges of operating within a failing and health system. For example, human resources, lack of robust supply chains, leadership, and so on.
And welcome to Life Clinic, your weekly dose of health and wellness from the BBC.
However, there is a school of thought that feels that organic food is too overpriced, yet grow and rare. But what do experts make of this?
You are paying for quality, you are paying for safety, you are paying for your health, because the other alternative is consuming foods that contain contaminants.
For those who choose to shave, let's say, razor, use those that are specifically made for the genital area. So they're very different from the ones for the face and the angle. It sort of helps it so that you don't cut yourself in the process.
Should I be concerned about getting a prostate check? We
are first and foremost concerned about the prostate because it's one of the contributors of a silent disease. Silent disease meaning prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is one of the main killers not only locally but globally. So
everybody is anxiety. You have a job interview, you have a presentation you're going to make, so everybody goes through some kind of anxiety. What this normal day-to-day anxiety to now this is a disorder is that you experience these symptoms for a long time.
In a corner of southern Africa lies a vast and sparse land where endless horizons, dramatic scenery, and untouched wilderness abound. (1,500 kilometers of harsh desert coastline, a mosaic of biodiversity, sub-Saharan savanna, acacia bushland, encased by 2 deserts. Home to wildlife and wilderness abundant, yet ever at risk. This is Namibia, home to some of the most noteworthy initiatives forged, manned, and driven by passionate individuals and
walking for more than 45 kilometers a day.
Special species and wild locations under constant threat from an increasingly destructive developing world.
One of the world's true survivors.
This is the story of the Namibian wilderness, the stories of the enigmatic wildlife and natural wonders of her realm.
They are not a threat to anyone if you understand them.
This is the story of those determined to preserve it and thereby themselves.
Don't think I want to tell my children one day that we had rhinos in Namibia. I want to show them live rhinos.
This is the story of the last defenders.
We have been tracked them for about 7 days, and on the 7th day, we come across the butchers, and there was a shooting. We are not armed. We having a camera and GPS. We are just hiding behind the bushes. If I don't protect this species, who's gonna do that? So is that why I sacrificed my life to go on conserve the rhinos.
Armed out in the field with basically a notebook against poachers that are armed with highly dangerous weapons and more. How is this an equal fight?
I started right on the ground as a tracker, and I worked all the way up to be the CEO now, and I know how hard it is. It's commitment and dedication and the patience that you have for the animal. It's really hard. It's like you had something in your house that you are protecting for so long, and when you go away from home, somebody comes and kills you.